everyone, and welcome back. I'm very excited to be here with you today. Today, I want to talk about the 7 limiting beliefs passive investors have. And usually this prevents them from getting off the starting line and actually doing it. I had a call with somebody a couple weeks back, and it was a phone call, so I didn't get to see him. Usually I'm doing Zoom calls with people that I just meet. And it was kind of a little bit of a heart wrenching conversation. Long story short, it was a woman, and she had like $40,000 that she needed to invest, and come to find out she was in her 70s, and she had just realized that she never built the habits to start investing. And some of these limiting beliefs that I want to share with you today, she acknowledged are what got her in her situation. She kind of just felt helpless. Like, she's like, well, I'm just old now and I only have this amount of money. What's the point? Why even try? Like, am I just doomed? I guess she felt like she was just doomed to work the rest of her life. And this whole idea of financial independence was very alien to her. But I had this conversation with her. I was like, hey, look, you might be in your 70s, but people are living past 100 today. And you can do a lot with $40,000 over a 25-year-old period. Do not give up on that. I mean, 25 years is a long time for your money to compound. And I encourage her to play with a compound interest calculator and show her how it continue to compound, and to just not give up on the idea. And, even if she did end up working for the rest of her life, that, the snowball that she has today is going to go into something much bigger down the road. So it's never too late to invest, is the point that I really want to hit on. So let's dive into this. This is going to be the 7 limiting beliefs in passive investors have, and the mistakes you do not need to make. Do not make these mistakes. So before we jump into this, please do me a favor. Hit that review button. Give us some stars. Give us a 5-star review if we're doing a good job. Give us a 1-star review if we're doing a bad job. Either way, I want to know. Give us some feedback. It just takes a quick second. You can do it on your phone just right now as you're listening to it. Scroll down on this episode, look at the stars, and hit it real quick. It really does help us deliver more fantastic content for you guys, and bumps us up and feeds the algorithm. Also, if you get value from this, do me a favor, share it with friends and family if somebody you know pops up in mind as you're listening to this. All right, so that's enough of that. So limiting belief number 1 is investing is too risky. The media controls our attention, and most of that attention is what basically grabs the attention. So we respond much more strongly to loss than we do gain. And investing is too risky sounds like a loss. We're emotional creatures. This is why we lose money in investments. We lose money because we make emotional decisions and not rational decisions, and therefore we think investing is too risky, and we're just going to save our money. We're going to put it aside. You've probably heard your grandma or great-grandma say this, right? They lived in an era where all the investments just got destroyed during the Great Depression, and so they became literally savers. My wife's grandma, I kid you not, would wrap up and save 2 almonds for later. Think about what created that kind of mindset. They lived through something that I really hope we never have to live through. Like, we don't know what hard is. They do. And so this idea of investing is too risky, it's just simply not true. It's just making sure that you do the time and spend the effort to invest long-term in safe assets that are going to be there, 10, 20, 30 years from now. This is why it's a pretty popular concept to invest in index funds that invest in the American economy, right? You're investing in the entire stock market because the chances of everyone in America dying or the stock market just going away and all the businesses going out of business is very, very low, right? That's why it's a cultural norm. This is why people invest in real estate. People are always going to need somewhere to live. So investing is only risky if you succumb to the emotional whims. Don't do that. Invest in things that are going to last a long time and just ride it out. That's concept number 1. Concept number 2 is I don't have time to invest. This is a big limiting belief, and it's just a bunch of BS. You have plenty of time to do it. I guarantee you that if you did a time audit, which every adult human being needs to do this, set your alarm to go off every hour on your phone and have an Excel spreadsheet pulled up on your phone if you're traveling or out and about, or on your computer if you work from home, and Put down the number of activities and minutes per activity that happened in that past hour. And you're going to do this in an Excel sheet because you can then extrapolate that data into a pie chart and you can see physically what is taking most of your time. And if you've done this and you're like me, it is extremely eye-opening. I realized that I was spending a lot of time doing little menial tasks. And consequently, I realized I spend like 2.5 hours a week just checking my calendar on what like is coming up and what I need to do. That blew my mind. I'm like, 2.5 hours a week? I pull up my calendar probably 50 times a day just to make sure I'm not missing meetings, to make sure that I'm prepared for what's happening that day. And so that was really eye-opening. So do that and then see what you can get rid of with help, or you can just offload to somebody else, or you can just maybe not do it all. I guarantee you have the time to invest. So don't let this limiting belief keep you from going across the starting line. The next is limiting belief number 3 is investing is only for the rich. People think that it takes money to invest. And yes, while it does take money, you can put a lot of sweat equity into things, and what might seem like a little bit of money, again, eventually can compound into something beautiful and magnificent. Again, we did an episode a while back. Behavior is what makes people wealthy, not making money. You've got to have the right behavior. So making that money and then investing it, that's how people get rich. This is a long game. This is not a short game. So you've got to have this mentality that you want to be rich one day, and it is not just for the rich. It is for everybody. Everybody can invest and make money. Nobody was born, well, not nobody. People do get born with a lot of money. I'm not going to say that, but most people are able to make it because we live in a fantastic country that creates opportunity. So don't let that limiting belief, investing is only for the rich, prevent you from getting across the starting line. Start today. Even if you only have a couple $1,000s or a couple $100s, just start investing and start building that muscle and that habit. That's the number one thing that you can do today. Limiting belief number 4 is investing is too complicated. A lot of people never get started with this because they think, oh my gosh, I got to spend all this time. These are extremely complicated securities and investments. I don't have the time to learn all this. I don't know what I'm doing. If that's the case, you can totally go get a financial advisor who has done the research on this. I don't think financial advisors are bad. Just know what their fees are and know what they're investing you in, and you know what those fees are. A lot of people don't know that they're getting double charged on fees because they're paying 1% to the advisor and they're paying 1% to the mutual funds that the advisor puts them in. So just be careful about that. But for some people, a financial advisor is a good idea. There's nothing wrong with that. We live in a world where there has never been more free information to change people's lives. We didn't have this 20 years ago. This whole idea of the internet has changed everything. You can literally go learn by watching famous investors, LinkedIn or Facebook, social media, their YouTube channel. I think like Ray Dalio, you know, he's written books, he's doing videos. I mean, they want to give back. They want to help. So you have all the tools available to you to learn. You didn't have that back then. Back then, you had to know somebody, be born in a family, or just figure it out. And that is just not the case today. So it is not complicated. All the information that you could ever want is there. Next limiting belief is I should wait for the perfect time to invest. This gets everybody. I think it was 2018. I had a buddy who was wanting to buy real estate, but he goes, man, Brandon, look, the market is just so hot. I'm going to wait and I'm going to let it cool off a little bit and I'm going to buy the dip. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the dip. and that dip never came. It just kept rolling on up. I sold some of my index funds back in 2017 because I had the same belief. I thought that I had time to top. Back then, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we had this like 7-year run. It was a historic bull market, and I thought I had time to top, and I sold out short. I could have made a lot more money had I not done that. So it was a tough lesson to learn. I still made money, but after what I missed out on after the run continued, all the way through 2022, it was still a bad mistake. So do not wait for the perfect time to invest. Invest now. Start cultivating that habit. That's the best thing that you can probably do. And then number 6, investing is only for older individuals. This could not be more untrue. The best time to do it is actually when you're younger, because as compound interest, which Einstein said is the 8th wonder of the world, starts working for you as opposed to against you, if you've racked up a bunch of money on credit cards and are paying interest payments, get out of that ASAP. Younger people, this is where the old you will thank you. If you can start now, if you're young and you're listening to this, start building that habit now. Start investing, start learning these things, start reading. Your older self will thank you. So do that. And finally, number 7, a big limiting belief is investing is like gambling. Again, this is just not true. Maybe if you're listening to what all your friends and family are telling you to do. I personally, I did not invest in cryptocurrencies, and here's why. I felt like it was gambling, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I understand that blockchain can be completely revolutionary to the financial world, and I'm rooting for it. But here's why I thought that investing in cryptocurrencies was a lot like gambling. So back in the late 90s, you had this thing called the internet, right? And I compare the internet to blockchain. The internet was what was going to change the world, not the individual companies. It was the individual companies were going to piggyback off the internet and use it to provide services. I think that that's the blockchain in this day and age. And so back then, you had all these tech companies that came out with these crazy valuations. If it had a .com behind it, it was getting venture capital funding. And literally 99% of those companies are gone, mostly all of them. And so it's important to realize that you don't want to invest in like the individual little cryptocurrencies that are coming out from the blockchain technology. Invest in the blockchain technology. Invest in the thing that's revolutionary. Cryptocurrencies don't have any intrinsic value. I can't do anything with them. I do think that there's some perks on like sending money and managing money, and there's the blockchain ledger. But again, the values in the blockchain, I think, not individual cryptocurrencies. I think that cryptocurrencies are going to go the way of the internet stocks in the late 90s. I think you're just going to have a very finite amount of them, just a very few amount that are going to win out. And it's very difficult to know who's going to win, because in business, your business can be thriving one day and just completely obsolete tomorrow. Look at what's happening to Google and the amount of market share that OpenAI and Microsoft have taken from their search engines with ChatGPT. I mean, Google had a monopoly on this market, and then poof, like almost, I'm not going to say overnight, like they're having to like bring the founders back on to kind of figure out the way ahead and what they need to do. So, investing is not like gambling. Don't let that get you on the sidelines. I hope that these 7 limiting belief concepts really hit home and help. Please do yourself a favor and start now. Doesn't matter how old you are. All right. Till next time.